Hi, everybody. I'm Adam Gilson, a contributing editor with Epoch Press. I'm here talking to Tasha Porritt, a managing editor for Epoch Press. How are you doing today?
I am good. I'm just the base level of stressed that I think everyone who's stuck in another country at the moment is. So I'm in Scotland, but I was only meant to be here for a month. I should have come back to Australia a while ago. So more news on that today, which was fun. But other than that, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Not where you're at, but okay. So that actually kind of leads into my question here is,
Hey.
tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. And it sounds like you are displaced due to COVID.
Yes, I am, as many people are, or anyone who is silly enough to fly to the other side of the world right at the start of the pandemic. So probably not that many people. But yes, I am from Scotland, from Perth, and I've been living in Australia for the last 3 years with my partner, who I met in Edinburgh. But yeah, I studied acting English lit here, and I actually sorry, Rory, start crying. Yeah, so I've been a writer in a professional capacity for about 10 years, but mostly like copy and stuff like that. Not very interesting. I'm personally a fiction writer, but I met Cara maybe 5 years ago, and I read some of her creative nonfiction, and then I was like, oh, I like creative nonfiction now. So I started playing around with that as well, and then yeah, currently I write for a creative magazine in Brisbane called The Creative Issue, and that's mostly like interviews and so on. So I'm much more used to being on your side of this than mine. But yeah, so I've been living with Cara for the entirety of my time in Scotland. So she thought she was going to have me for a month. Now she's had me for 6. So while she was, playing World of Warcraft for 2 months and I was just drinking solidly, we both decided that we should be a bit more proactive. And I started helping her set everything up. Yeah, there you go.
So that's just amazing, for one thing, that you've been there for so long, but also that because you were stuck there, you were part of this basically from the beginning of Epoch Press from the beginning.
Yeah, essentially.
So, that my next question is, what draws the person to Epoch Press, but you were obviously in the living room as it was happening. So, tell us more though. I mean, what else? Like, what about the project draws you, and what capacity? I knew you're managing editor, but what exactly does that mean?
So I would definitely still say that I was drawn in, despite the fact that I was here when Cara started setting everything up. Her passion and enthusiasm for it was infectious. It was basically impossible to be in the same room as it happening and not be a part of it. So essentially, as a managing editor, it's a title that's still working itself out as the company grows and as it builds. Basically, what I do at the moment is I read all the submissions right from round 1 through to the end. And I basically help Cara with anything that she needs help with. Little bits of research here and there. I'm going to be in charge of the blog and potentially the newsletter in the future. So yeah, I just do anything I can essentially to try and lighten the load for her a little bit.
That's awesome. So could you tell us why you'd like to see the Kickstarter campaign succeed?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, like with anything like this, we need money to make things happen easily. We want to be able to print, we want to be able to pay contributors, we want to be able to do all the things that would make Epoch Press just a little bit different, especially when it comes to paying contributors, because many of us on the team are writers, and we are no strangers to the horrifying world of submitting work to journals and either getting rejected or getting messed about for a while and then finally being accepted, but then there's just nothing after that. And I just think it's so important that writers expect to be paid, because we're still working. It's weird that we're just like, no, please take our stuff, it's just for exposure. And so like we want to give that to writers and artists and all sorts of people, and it's just going to be a lot easier for us to do that with everybody else's help. And it just gives us a base. It gives us a support base so that we're not starting from nothing, and we have room to grow and move and wriggle around on the floor and figure ourselves out without the immediate threat of bankruptcy. So yeah, basically just to make stuff easier. I know the Epoch would go on fine without it, but I would love us to have that leg up and that push so that we can really get things going and really start reaching people as soon as we possibly can.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one thing that's become pretty clear to me over the last couple months of this project is that it's like it's all volunteers, everybody that's working for it, that's working with it, and it's global. Those people, you guys are in Edinburgh. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody that was, lives actually on the other side of my town, and then, tomorrow somebody was in British Columbia. So could you tell us about that? What that says to you about the project, about what this is all about?
I think what it says to me is that all voices are welcome and encouraged, and diversity in location, gender, race, sexuality, whatever you want, is vital if we're going to do something meaningful with creative nonfiction. We don't want to just hear the same stories from the same few people. And by being all over the world, and when I eventually get back to Australia, I've got a few people who are interested in getting involved there as well. Just by spreading as far as we can bring stories from all different parts of the planet together into one tidy, delicious little package. And I just think that's amazing.
That's awesome. I like that. That's very creative nonfiction-y metaphor, bringing it all together for everybody. That's great. Do you have anything else you'd like to say to people that are listening in on us today?
I think for anyone listening, I think especially those of you who are perhaps considering giving us money or giving us your work or giving us whatever you want to give us, please go for it. I want you to know that you're in really good hands, and this is all being run by someone who is so genuinely passionate about creative nonfiction, about the work, about the writers, is so against gatekeeping and all the other just nasty stuff that we experience in literature circles constantly. You can have your trust battered a little bit by the literature scene, and I really think the Epoch could be a bit of a salve for that and something that's genuine.
I 100% agree with that. You're absolutely right. Okay, last question. If a clown were to make a balloon animal representative of you, what would that animal be?
Trick question. I would never go near a clown.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the answer is in the empty space.
Yeah, that's the thing. The clown can really make whatever it wants of me. I'm not going to take it personally or ever really see it. So
I just got shivers. Okay, what if it was Mr. Rogers making a clown?
Now I'm sad.
Okay, the roller coaster.
If Mr. Rogers is making a balloon animal out of me, I'd like to think it would be a French bulldog. Because small and angry, but very loving.
Okay. So. Well, thank you. And thank you for admitting that you've got, what is that called? What's the fear of clowns? Wait, is it fear of clowns or just a distaste?
It's a distaste.
Okay, that's fair.
And a fear. It's all rolled into one. There's a lot of
Okay,
emotions
all right.
that I got towards clowns.
Okay, I didn't mean to do a deep dive into your psyche. But,
I'll have a lie down now.
yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Tasha.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And thanks again to everybody out there who was listening in with us. If you could share this, check out our website, and look at the Kickstarter, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.